do it with intensity or not at all.
Welcome to the Intensity Podcast. I'm your host, Hans the Hammer Hartleben. Guys, I got to come clean. I left you hanging a couple weeks ago. I told you I got some news, something big going on in my life that I couldn't disclose it, and I felt bad. I wasn't holding back on you. I was supposed to tell you last week, and I forgot. But July 5th, I became a grandpa. To Cash Robert Conkle. Cash with a K. Love it. Love the name. My daughter's doing great. He was 7 pounds, 1 ounce. She was in the hospital for a week. Long story. But she's feeling good. Baby's doing fantastic. And really, that's all you can ask for. I mean, let's not mistake ourselves. We ask for a lot in life, but nothing's guaranteed. And when it all boils down to it, I think we just want everyone to be healthy. So we'll take it. I'm excited. And he's 2 weeks old now, as of Saturday, July 5th. Also, I gave blood today. And I'm proud of that because my daughter, needed 2 bags of blood. She needed a transfusion. She had a hemorrhage during her C-section. Donating blood is so important. And I've been donating blood for a long time. But this really puts it in perspective. Without that, none of this stuff is possible, these transfusions. So get out there and donate your blood. It's the least you can do, right? You could say, well, I donate plasma. No, you don't. You sell your plasma. You get paid. You donate your time. It's great too, though. It's fantastic. We need plasma. Some of you guys, when I'm talking to you and we're talking about donations and public service, and all you have is plasma, it makes me wonder because, like I said, you're getting a check for that. So anyways, all right, today we want to go deep. Last week we talked, Pi and I talked about the pain scale and how much you can tolerate in business before you throw in the white flag. I want to dive deeper today into actual depression, as it's so prevalent. There's 280 million people worldwide that are estimated to have depression through their diagnosis. But you don't have to be diagnosed by a professional to suffer from depression. So we want to cover some of these things. The symptoms, we want to talk about the treatments, some tips and tricks that I've used to get out of it, because I've been there. I've never sat down with a licensed professional and been diagnosed. That doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean I didn't have it. I mean, I fit the bill. I have fit the bill. Everything that, all the symptoms, and I know that I have been depressed. Really, that's all that matters, isn't it? We're so black and white these days. Well, have you been diagnosed? And so what? Somebody diagnosed you, and maybe you didn't have it. People are misdiagnosed all the time. It's hard to put your thumb on because it's not like we're counting your red blood cells here. Okay, there's nothing concrete or tangible about being depressed other than the way you feel and your symptoms, and everyone's different. So I want to dive into it. And depression's not a weakness. It's real, it's heavy, it affects millions, as we talked about. Actually, 10% of all adults are known to have depression. In this episode, I will break down what depression is, how it's commonly treated, and like I said, some of the tips and tricks that I have for you on getting out, how I got out. Sometimes it's mood, it's brain chemistry, it's fighting fog. Whether you're struggling personally or want to better understand someone who is, this conversation brings honesty, science, and hope to the surface. It's not just sadness. Sadness is an emotion we have as human beings, and it's common. We can be sad, and we can still be healthy when we're sad. So I'm seeing a lot of people, because I think the depression diagnoses are so prevalent and everyone's talking about it, the awareness is great, but sometimes I think there's so much out there that when people are sad, which is a human emotion we're born with, they're misdiagnosing it as depression. I think the clinical licensed professionals are misdiagnosing it. Sometimes you're just sad. Something happened in your life. You had a bad day. We used to talk about being in a rut, in my buddy. And it was interesting. I don't think we really knew how onto something we were. But being in a rut is, you couldn't notice it right away. So he would be like, I think I'm in a rut. And okay, when did that start? I think a couple weeks ago. You never know right away if you're starting a rut. And what I mean by a rut is in a funk mentally. This is normal stuff. We're not always happy and cheery. If you are, you're probably medicated. Let's be real. But a rut is what I'm looking at now in hindsight could lead to depression. Like I said, ruts are normal, but knowing you're falling into a rut is super important. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. We're talking about clinical depression. It's not just feeling down. It's a mood disorder. Okay, again, not just having a bad day. And again, just because someone hasn't been diagnosed doesn't mean they don't have it. Got some good notes today here. Symptoms of being depressed: fatigue. Been there. Always sleeping. Hopelessness. You feel you can't get out. Loss of interest. Nothing out there excites you. Appetite changes. Either way, not eating or eating too much. Binge eating or binge fasting. Trouble concentrating. And this affects the body, the mind, and relationships. It's invisible to see on someone who may be suffering from depression. They might be smiling, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, behind closed curtains. And again, it starts with a rut. So you can get out. There's a time frame there. There's a window of opportunity that you're way ahead of the game if you can get out during that rut. And if you can feel it coming, more power to you. But you have to act on it. We're going to talk about some other ways besides medication today to get out. How is it commonly treated? Therapy. That's cognitive behavioral therapy. Talk therapy, trauma-enforced care. Medications, common. SSRIs, and I had to look that up. SSRIs are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They're a class of antidepressants primarily used to treat depression and other mental health conditions. They work by increasing the amount of serotonin. You've heard of serotonin. That's the feel-good chemical in our brain. We're low on that. We don't feel good. We feel depressed. We feel hopeless. Lack of serotonin gives us fatigue, loss of interest. Common SRIs include SSRIs, Prozac, Zoloft, Lexapro, and Paxil. I've heard of a couple of those. These medications often take 2 to 6 weeks to become fully effective. And I do think, I'm adding here, I think it's huge to get the problem out. Sometimes you're not aware of what's bothering you. That's a scary place to be. But most of the time, with a little talking through, and can be a counselor, this could be a friend, a family member, with the right person and the right questions, we can unveil what the problem really is, the root cause. Because it's super important to get to root causes of things. But it's a slippery slope. Because there's a point, in my opinion, that we're talking about it too much. We're addressing it. By addressing the root cause of our depression, we're revisiting that trauma, that problem, that issue that created the pain. Again, I'm not saying to hover over it and ignore it by any means. I'm saying it has to be addressed to move forward. But I'm seeing people that keep addressing it, so it keeps dragging them down. It keeps them in the rut. It keeps them in the hole. When they should be clawing out, crawling out with everything they have. I've been there. I've done that. I've crawled out. And I was in deep. So you don't want to stay there, do you? So why would you keep going back there mentally? After a while, you have to ignore it. You got to stop looking in the rearview mirror of your problems. At some point, you got to put your foot through the pedal and push it till it stops and move forward and look forward. Both hands on the wheel. I mean that, every fiber in my body. Common ways to get out. My daughter was in a funk. She was probably, 15, 16, I'm going to guess. And I saw it coming for a while. She's been unhappy. And this isn't one of the symptoms, but we can add it, is you're short with people. You're on edge. Angry. And she was. And she was wearing it in her face, on her face. And I knew something was wrong with that. That's, puberty. You got to give people some slack. You can't jump down everybody's throat about, what's wrong. But it's been going on for some time. And she wanted to see a counselor, I think. And I said, great. Let's clean your room first. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, I want to see a counselor. I want to see a professional. Who cares about my room? What does that matter? I said, you're going to have to trust me on this. Your room is a fucking pigsty. Every day you wake up, and you might not know it, but you can't find clean clothes. Clothes you have are dusty. The clean ones you have are dusty. The room is dark. You have, clothes was the big one. Stuff everywhere. Nothing's organized. Nothing's not filed. She wasn't filing things at 15 years old, but nothing had a place. Shit was everywhere. It's a pigsty. So we argued, and I said, I need you to clean your room today, and I need you to trust me on this. Gather up all of your dirty clothes, put them in this bin, and I'm taking them downstairs, and I'm going to wash them for you. I'm part of this. I want to be part of the solution. So she reluctantly started picking up the stuff, and we found it was like everything was dirty. The clean clothes were dirty because it was all thrown together. It was all thrown on the floor, on her bed, everywhere else. And I think a lot of us have been there. There's nothing wrong with her necessarily. She got into a bad habit. Gathered everything up, started washing it. Start with a vacuum, clean your room, wash your sheets, wash your pillowcases. And then we're going to go buy new bedding. So we went and took her to buy new bedding. She loved her existing bedding. She doesn't like a lot of change. I said, too bad. We're getting new shit today. Went to Bed Bath & Beyond. Picked some stuff out. She started to get a little interested. Little excited, maybe. Maybe excited was an overstatement. But we got back to the house. The room's clean. It's dusted. There's the smell of clean laundry and fabric softener. New sheets. We took the blinds and opened the blinds. More light came in, more natural light. The place felt amazing. And she was smiling. I said, tell me how you feel tomorrow when you wake up. Speeding up the story, she felt amazing. It put a skip in her step, and she was out. You know, I didn't talk about, we made some organizing measures and this and that, but that goes without saying with cleaning. You're going to do that. So it worked. And I'm not saying that's going to be that simple and easy for everybody, but that worked for her, and that was the first step. Counselors are great. That might be the case. We might need that tool, that asset. But we're going to start with cleaning your room, washing your clothes. 1 foot in front of the next. Lifestyle, sleep, nutrition, support systems, all important. Support systems, I mean friends, family. Y'all have somebody to talk to. Strangers. Those strangers may be your friends. You don't even know it. Somebody at a gas station that you've had multiple conversations with. Those are assets. Those are part of your support system. Use them. But remember, we can't just use people when we're hurting and when we need people. We need help. In order to get a friend, you need to be a friend. Ultimately, you need to be a friend first. Then it reciprocates later, not immediately. Build bridges. Talk about that in every episode. Live your life building bridges. And we got times like this. Times are tough. A lot of these bridges that you built present themselves. And you can cross them. Sometimes they're like a rickety suspension bridge over the Colorado River, but we won't get into that. Some are beautiful concrete bridges. There's no shame in using medication, and sometimes that's needed. But I want to dive a little more deeply into the steps prior to medication. Cleaning your room, washing your clothes, doing your dishes. The depression I was in, the deepest I've been in, and it was a financial depression. That was easy to diagnose. Got so bad that I stopped getting the mail. Because every time I went out to that mailbox, there was bad news. I had the stacks of bills that I could not pay. And I encourage you guys to go back to my first podcast where it says start here. I go into my situation and how I remedied it. Woo! Hey, I gave blood 1 pint. Supposed to have some brain fog there. See, more excuses. This is my excuse, the red band right here. That's my proof, I should say. Should I try to say it again? How I remedied the situation. Bam. Still got a pint low and I can think of this stuff. I was deeply depressed. Couldn't go to the mailbox. Stopped washing my clothes. I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks. I woke up one day and I didn't have any socks. Any clean socks. And I had a meeting or something. I had to be somewhere. And I had to go over to my fucking hamper and put on dirty socks. And that stuck with me. That pissed me off. And it should piss you off. And that was part of my way out when I started clawing. Sticking your nails in and pulling yourself out. Sometimes you need to hit rock bottom, and I was there. Beyond the financial despair, I didn't have clean fucking socks. And that was a problem. And I didn't want to be there anymore. So I started washing my clothes, started doing the dishes, and I started ripping through these goddamn envelopes full of bills. And it's better. You start seeing them. I don't care how many thousands. You start putting them and visualizing them, and then you can start creating a plan to do something with them. Otherwise, it's just a cluster. It's just fear, false evidence appearing real. You need to see your issues. And it helps to illustrate them. So I remember I had dirty dishes. I had a roommate. He was down in the basement. And I said, bring your dishes up here. Now I'm washing them. So I'm going to wash them. I know there's a shit ton of dishes down there. He comes up, brings up the dishes in his arms. I looked at these fucking dishes. They were gross-ass dishes. And I broke them all over the floor. Every single one of them, while he stood there, he backed up real quick. I broke all the fucking dishes. There you go. Done. One by one. Smash, 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 smash. And then calmly went and grabbed the broom and the dustpan and got rid of them and dumped them in the garbage. And boy, did that feel good. Because I had all the other dishes done. And those were done too. That problem was solved. Nobody got hurt. So I don't think I was exercising. And now, mind you, I have exercised 3 times a week for 35 years. Yes, since I was 15. 49 years, young today. Grandpa, Papa. And I've exercised my whole life. I needed that for my mental health. I need it for my mental health today. I try, God, I hate that word, try, just do it, to work out 5 days a week. I like to take a couple days off. I like to get my steps in, 10,000 steps a day. So I usually do more steps on the weekend when I'm not working out. I work out on the weekends too. It's usually if I miss during the week. But so I cranked out the mail. I started ripping open the envelopes. I washed my clothes. I had clean socks, clean dishes, clean clothes. Did I say clothes already? And I cleaned the hell out of the house. That was my first step forward with exercise. So exercise has been proven in numerous studies to help reduce depressive symptoms. Your movement boosts dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. You've heard of the endorphin rush. It's a feel-good. They call it a runner's high sometimes. It's real. It's your brain's natural mood lifters. Exercise improves your sleep. How important is our sleep to our health and our mental health? Sleep improves brain function. So we're talking about the brain and a disorder. The least we could do is get some sleep. Well, I can't sleep. Exercise. Push yourself. Well, I don't have anything. All you don't need much. Jump up on a pull-up bar, do some push-ups, but whatever that is, push yourself for 30 minutes. And to a level cardiovascularly that you can't breathe very well. At least 80% of your maximal heart rate. How will you know? Well, you won't be able to talk very well. So the talk test is if you can link a whole sentence together, you're not at above 80%. You're not at 90%. Maximal heart rate. You need to push that much blood to raise these endorphins. Push the blood. Lift some heavy stuff. You got any concrete blocks at your house? You got a bar to pull up on? You got a ground to do some push-ups on against? Figure it out. Be creative. Run some hills. But you got to push hard and clean everything in your house. So the exercise is important for showing yourself that you're still in charge, that you can still feel power and powerful. There's a natural confidence that goes with exercise. Look at people that exercise daily. They got any bounce in their step? They don't look depressed, do they? We have 4,000 active clients at Fire Fitness Camp. I see happy people all the time, and I've seen people change. I've seen the transformations. The mental transformations are the most powerful. And I've witnessed them for 15 years. I consider myself an expert. Amongst all my certifications, of course. Regular movement has shown to be effective and just as effective as antidepressants in some mild to moderate cases. Wow. But you're not getting the side effects. They didn't talk about that. What are the side effects of exercise? Soreness. You've heard the term, it's better to be sore than sorry. It's true. Soreness goes away, lets you know you did something effective. Those micro tears, those subclinical injuries. Remember the muscles, if you're not using a muscle, just picture a ball of yarn. Picture a very soft ball of yarn. That's what your muscle fibers are like when you haven't worked out in a long time. They get soft. You could feel your soft muscles. Now, you do something like push-ups, pull-ups, using weights, those fibers pull apart very easily because they're so soft, they're so weak. So they pull apart. There's your soreness. Those are those micro tears, those subclinical injuries. They're injuries, but they're not at a clinical level. They hurt. But now you're using good nutrition, your BCAAs, your protein, your recover product from Rehab Subslab, glutamine, creatine. They start growing together more tightly, in a more tightly fashion. That ball of yarn actually will start to shrink. So that's where you see people tightening up and shrinking because they're getting more hard. So that's the way the muscles work, and that's why you're sore. There's no real great alternative to being sore other than our product, Recover from Rehab Subslab. It's amazing. I take it every week, and it really minimizes my soreness, because if I'm really sore, it hurt. It's not fun. And you can't push forward as fast. So if you really care about performance, you'll take Recover. rehabsubs.com. Live long, live strong. There's plug. Didn't even try to. Not trying to plug this stuff. I'm just telling you the facts. What's this? Key study. Duke University study showed that exercise was just effective as Zoloft for treating depression in a 16-week trial. Holy shit. Duke University showed that exercise was just as effective as Zoloft for treating depression. That's powerful. Thank you so much, guys. I probably missed a bunch, but I think we touched on some things. If you can take one or two things out of this podcast per week, you're going to be on a roll. You're going to be getting somewhere. Give me your feedback. Give me your PMs. Give me a like. Share this if you liked it. If you want other people to hear this, share it. Comment. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Hans Hartleben, and hanshartleben.com. See what else I got going on in life. And I was going to say before my life started. Previously in my life. All right. We're going to sing. I don't have anything pulled up, so I'm going to just, I'm going to free ball it here. On a long and lonesome highway east of Omaha, you can listen to the engines moaning out as one lost song. You can think about the woman or the girl you knew the night before. Should I keep going? Well, your thoughts would soon be wandering the way they always do when you're riding 16 hours and there's nothing much to do. You don't feel much like riding. You just wish the trip was through.
Yeah, buddy! Yeah, buddy! Haven't played with these in a while. Ha 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 ha!
What do you think?
Do it with intensity!
Or not at all. Booyah!